My name is Amin Khan. I am the member, the convener of the Kenya Climate Change Working Group Adaptation Committee, as well as the treasurer. It's a pleasure to be here in Machakos, where we are discussing what are going to be the impacts and our position on the COP29, which is taking place in November in Azerbaijan. And we look forward to this. Today there are many speakers, and as our chairman had talked about other prominent speakers, and others who are also talking about many areas of activities which will take place in Azerbaijan, and what is going to be our position in synergy with the government of Kenya. One of the speakers just talked about agriculture, and my passion is in agriculture, for example, climate smart agriculture. And one of the biggest impacts that I think will happen in Kenya in the future is capacity building on climate smart agriculture, which includes technology, includes fisheries and many others. For example, in climate smart agriculture, we can have a holistic project where capacity building can take place. We can have cows, goats, chicken, and small farms which can be occupied by people rather than leaving them idle, and they can be used to be able to bring about lots of yield, which can be done in a most dynamic manner. That's one of the areas that I want to talk about, especially in Azerbaijan. And I believe that the Gen Zs and all the youth need to learn more about agriculture, so that as Kenya is an agriculture country, we can basically make sure that we have food security. That is one of the areas that are very important in the Kenyan context. We have realized as a civil society, when we go around and we talk to people at the community levels, that one of the biggest challenges that we face is access to finance. Access to finance at all the levels, and of course it's very expensive to get funding for many projects in the Kenyan context. If you go to banks, it's very expensive because the interest level is very high. The government itself also tries to be able to bring about implementation, but the county governments, there's a limited amount of resources that they can use to focus on some of the areas which need implementation. I mean, infrastructure is a very high cost, as we have seen, but besides that, on the climate change aspect, I think it's very important. When we have droughts, when we have floods, all these things require lots of money. So when we go to Azerbaijan, one of the things which the chairman also mentioned is the loss and damage funds. Because as we know, Africa is only emitting 4% of the global gases, the carbon dioxide. And yet we are expected to be able to increase our trees. We are expected to be able to limit usage of carbon and other things. In fact, I did a film called Doomsday Beckons Change, in which it was very clear that the biggest problem we face today is the use of fossil fuels and because of deforestation. So actually, if you really go to see, if we are not careful in the next decade and after that, then this is going to be a doomsday. In fact, it will be what we say is the day of judgment. So I think Kenya climate change has to be taken very seriously, and we hope that the policies will be done by the other Western countries and others to make sure that Africa gets the financing that it requires to be able to implement whatever is necessary.